Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Yvette with Yvette's Junk Journal Shop. I'm here today with 7 journals that I've created for the November hashtag 12x12 Junk Journal Challenge 2025. It is a year-long challenge that I am co-hosting with 9 other ladies. So check out the description box for links to everybody's channel. So what we do is we create one journal, whatever we want, one journal or a thing on our bucket list. It can be an organizational thing, it can be a mask make, it can be a journal. So whatever we've had on our bucket list for a while, we take that item and we show one video detailing what we're going to do, and then we show a follow-up video revealing what we made. So here's my follow-up video. And then what I wanted to do was create journals using these chenille bedspread fabric scraps that I had. So I'm just going to move the journals aside so I can make a little room here, and we're going to go through each one of these journals. I haven't given them a name yet, but they will all have a name by the time we have them posted, or I have them posted on my website. You can find all of these items in Yvette's Junk Journal shop on Ko-fi. So the first one here is a pretty pink one. I used a twisted rope closure, and then I tied the ends kind of like a tassel on there. And then the cover on this is just a very basic little chenille pink cover. And these are vintage pieces, so there's going to be some space where the chenille has rubbed off or whatever. These are all single signatures. They are around 60 pages, I believe. And then you'll see once we get into them what they are. I've used several digital kits just for my stash. Some I know where they came from, some of them I don't. So if you recognize something from your kit, go ahead and feel free to link that in the description box. So here on this cover, I made a little cover plate with some music paper, a little bit of cardstock, and then I did a little, behind that is another piece of cardboard covered in cardstock. So it kind of gave it a dimensional look. And then I have this little button accent and a little piece at the bottom here with some brads in it that says authentic. It has a very simple lace tassel with a button at the top. And let's go ahead and get into this. So each journal does have one of these vintage lamp postcards is what they are, and they're Tiffany lamps, and each one has that in there. They each have a guest check of some sort, and then yeah, so you'll see as we go along, each one has their own little flavor. This is a little bit toward a shabby chic, of course, but not spot on with that. I did a little bit of stenciling on this one. I have a tuck spot, little flip spot. So I had a lot of fun creating this. I did a lot of paper ruffles in these. Had a lot of fun doing those. And then this is just a little clip here with a couple of pieces on there, or one piece, I guess. And these are from a kit from Lindsay at Nevermore Creations. Dawn from Scrapbook Sage will be selling Lindsay's kits. She's slowly getting those added. This is also from one of Lindsay's kit. This is a piece of wallpaper border, vintage wallpaper border from Amore Fabriques on Etsy. Got a little tuck spot, a pocket there, a little corner pocket here. Did a little bit of layering. And then this is a little ruffle that I put on, and I made it into a belly band, and then I just tucked things in. So I glued it down the middle, and I did it in 2 pieces. So I have a little tuck spot here, and one up here, one over here, and one over here. And then this whole thing flips up, and you have a spot to journal. So I tried to do a little bit different things. This is scrapbook paper, and then these are, I got these at Dollar General. They had a pack for like $1. And then this is from a potpourri book. These were gifted to me from someone who purchased them and gifted them to me from Cindy in my shop. So sometimes people buy things and then say, oh, you need that. I have a little pocket here, did a little drawing on there. A little pocket there. And this is some vintage ribbon on the edge there. So very basic journals for writing. I made them all to be writing journals. People who buy my journals tend to want to write in them. And then I have another piece of Cindy's little fabric piece there. And then this is a library card. I have a few ephemera pieces to use however the person wants. And a scrap piece here of paper from one of the digital kits. So I just made a pocket there, trimmed it out with a little bit more of that lace. So there's the first one. So I haven't quite decided on names. I know they'll have probably the color in them, you know, pink something. So we'll see. I don't know. You'll have to just search for in the journal section for them. I should have named them before I started this whole thing, but I got too excited to show my progress. So this one definitely has a boho theme to it. We have this piece of silk on the outside. And that just wraps around several times. It's multicolored. I have this bodacious little tassel here with all different kinds of fibers and eyelash trim and ribbon and all kinds of goodies in there. That can be taken off or left on. In the front here I have a pocket. This is a sari silk piece again from Amour Fabrique, which is where I got all of these chenille covers. In the front there's that Tiffany's lamp postcard and the guest check. And I did do this a little bit different. This is the first one I did, so the pocket I didn't go all the way across, but I did do a tutorial video. I'll try to remember to link that on how I made these covers because it was a little different. I had the whole piece and then folded it up to have the pocket so that the folded piece comes from the front to the back. Anyway, so I'm trying to, I'll try to remember to link that. And then this has several digital kits in there. There's a little journal card here. Another paper ruffle there and here. So I just kind of went by color on this was kind of the thing that, well, it's the thing that draws. Kind of what I lean toward is creating by color. So things that coordinate together, although boho can be a lot of different things. So a little fabric ruffle here. So this kind of paper I did get from a book. It's called Feed Sack Fabric Collage Cut and Create. And so I got this on Amazon. I also will try to remember to link that. I used a little bit of that throughout. Here are some real postage stamps on the side there. Another fabric ruffle, a little tuck spot. This is a little pocket. And the center is from that potpourri or flower catalog magazine. This is a little bit from Dawn, Scrapbook Sage. And I did some stenciling on the background there. So I didn't go overly boho with this as far as trims and things like that, but it definitely leans toward a boho vibe. This is a little cut off of some experimenting I did with some spray ink. That was fun. And I have a pocket here with a little journal spot in there. These are just extra pieces that can be used however in the journal. Another little fabric ruffle on the edge. And then in the back, I have a couple of different pieces in there. I did a little bird at the top there. And then I have this library card and this little, I don't know what this is from. They're almost like postcard, but they're not. But they are like maybe a magazine is where I got those. Can't remember exactly. So that is the boho one. Again, I'm not sure how I'm going to name these, so just you can type in my name or go to the journal section and you will find them there if they're still available. If I can pull that through. There we go. All right, let's look at this pretty blue one. So this one has a lace closure just wrapped around, and most of them I did a wrap around. I think all of them actually, because I wanted the person who got them to be able to put a different closure on if they wanted. So the cover of this is very textured, and as you can see, I tied the strings on the outside of this, so it's kind of real shabby looking. And then it's very textured on there with a diagonal kind of pattern. And then I made this cover plate with a little bird image and did some flowers on there and layered it with some lace. And then inside you have the library card, the Tiffany lamp card, and then on this one I just have a large piece of cardstock. This I know is Lindsay from Nevermore Creations, so you'll find those eventually on Dawn's. She's, like I said, slowly adding those. So here we have another library card, and this is those little journal cards that I made out of spray ink. More stamps there, original stamps, canceled stamps. This is from a kit, also from Lindsay. I think it's called Birds and Bees. It was a commissioned kit that I did from her when she was doing those. So Dawn will have those coming in her shop. Here's a piece of that feed sack paper. I just put that in there, and some papers dyed by my friend Cheryl's. Put those in there, and they all come around. So this is, I had a few pages in there. This is a little booklet that I made. Forgot I made it. So this is one of the first ones I made. Then I just have some journaling spots in there. I have these little tabs in here. And then there's a pocket in the back. And then I just had this with a few pages and then clipped on there. So just went like that. I'll show you the rest of the pages first. This is from my friend Karen. We did a swap. Again, Birds and the Bees, I think that is. So I had all of these little spots, and then I just took the booklet and then I clipped it on with the paper clip. Again, from the feed sack book. That's hard to say. This is a Lindsay kit. A couple of those flags that I used earlier from the Dollar General pack that I got. It just slips up in there. And then this is a little bit from Dawn. She gifted me those. We did a swap. We do that quite often when we meet up and she gives me supplies for the shop. Here are a bunch of little calling cards that I cut out, and one more of Dawn's little snippets just tucked in there. And then this flips out this way, and this flips over this way, so that it's got journal spots in there. A little bit of vintage trim on the side, folded side pocket. And then this, I just made a belly band. I had these little shapes here that I got from somebody. They're fabric covered, and we did a swap, and I got those. And then here's another piece of that feed sack paper. It's got a really cool feel to it, so use those throughout. This is paper from Caroline, Caroline's Craft Tree. She's a vendor in my shop and a supplier, and there's a guest check in the back there. So that is the blue one. Okay, then I've got the orange one coming up. Now the orange and the yellow were ones that were very difficult for me because those are not my typical colors. So I did struggle a bit with those two, but once I got going with it, I did have fun. So this one I did a little bit different. The cover has all this hobnob on there, and I really like that effect. So the whole thing that you see in here is removable. So I have a vintage lace. It's just the same lace. There's like 4 pieces of it, and I tied it with a piece of jute and made a little tassel. And then the tie is just a ribbon tie. And then this part is all removable. So I have it attached up here, and I have it clipped here with a vintage earring. So it's just a plastic or acetate ear, what do you call that? Acrylic earring. And then it folds out here with a doily, vintage doily. And then I just pinned this to the top so that it would attach everything. And I just tucked these in afterwards. So this is, I just pinned this to the top, folded it over, and then clipped it with that, and then tucked these cards in. So I'll show you at the end how I did that. These are just different ones, a playing card and different things. And then this is a vintage postcard. And it's got the little folded lines there. This is also a vintage postcard. And then this is attached up here as well. So I tried to keep it, so that you can take it apart, but if you want to put it back together, it's pretty easy. Here is a Tiffany lamp postcard. This is a French script, I think, from Lindsay. I can't remember the name of it exactly. Lots of fun in here. This is a double pocket. I got one here, got a pocket back here. And I'm not sure where some of these kits are from. So if I did not mention it, and like I said, and if you notice it as your kit, please comment with a link to it. We have just a piece of paper here and a little couple of tags on there. These are all clipped together, so I just clipped together a bigger piece and then just clip this to the top of it. This is a little check parts list, I guess, tag. Did a little bit of stenciling. This is a flip spot. So yeah, I struggled a little bit pulling together the orange and the yellow because I didn't have a lot of things in those colors, but I think it came together pretty well. Had a lot of fun. Another library card at the back, and another one of those photos. And then here is a little piece that I did experimenting with glitter glass. That was fun too. So basically how I put this together, I just pulled this over like this, And then I wrapped this over this way, wrap this over up like this, kind of. And then this came over this way so that I could, let me think how I did it. These are going to tuck in here. So this just comes up here, and I kind of pulled all this together so that it was being held on there, kind of over here, if I remember right. So there's different ways this can be done, but that's how I did it. That bulb pin doesn't want to work with me. There we go. And then this part here, I just tucked in those cards down in here. Now watch, it won't work. Yep. Let's see. I know there was a really easy way and I practiced it 3 or 4 times, but now that I'm on here, it's like, oh well, not gonna work. I did that postcard in there. Maybe I put the postcard in first so that, that now I'm remembering this all. Okay, like this. And then this part here gets attached up here. All right, and then this part here, I clipped on over here to kind of hold this piece up. And it's going to look a little different every time I do it, but that's basically how I did that. And then I just wrapped the ribbon around it. So if you want it underneath, you can tuck it underneath, leave it on the top. I've tied it several different ways, but that's kind of the way that I liked it, was with that kind of peeking out there. So the next one here is the green one. And I just had a little jute tie around here. I tied it in the back so it doesn't come undone. And then I wrapped this vintage piece of crochet around it. This has a removable little booklet, so it has a little slide on it. And then this just opens up. Again, different papers in there. Just a great little journal spot. And then this can go back on. So if somebody wanted to read it, they'd have to really get into it to do that. All right. And this is again from that bead sack book. And so the outside cover is pretty plain, but it is very textured. It's a single signature again, all of them are. And then here is the Tiffany lamp card that comes with this. And 1990 those were, so not quite vintage. And then we have this here. And that's wallpaper. It's got a little tuck spot here. This is a calendar, so I made it into a pocket because the numbers on the back were upside down. So I didn't want that to show, so I just have a little piece of paper that tucks into that pocket there. Have a little side pocket with a couple tags in it. Another side pocket here. And another one over here. I just clipped that on there. Got a little pocket here. A belly band. And this is like a linen paper. Again with a larger journal spot. Another side pocket. Little tuck spot. So this one has a lot of little tuck-ins and interactive. I put the guest check down on this one actually. And I got a little tuck spot here. And in the back I have another piece from Cindy. I've got the library card, and another guest check. And again, this just comes around like this. And then this comes around from the back like this. And you can line that up however you want. I kind of had it somewhat centered, but it doesn't have to be. I just like it that way, kind of like that. And then this can just come around and tie. And then that little booklet just kind of tucks in right here, like that. So the next one is the yellow one. Again, this is a challenge journal for me. I like how it turned out, but it was very challenging. I just have this little rickrack yellow tie. It's very textured. Oh, corner. Very textured. It's got this little image on the front that I layered with some of that Yvette paper. There's the Tiffany card and the guest check. Did another one of those glitter glass on there. And this has a bunch of, I tried to go by the color, so that's kind of what was driving me. I love that little thing, so I thought that looked good in there. This is a little pocket. And I have a tuck spot here. And this is all loose ephemera that you can use however you like. We have that little guy that came off over there. This is a wallpaper. And then I have pockets. I've made those into pockets at the top. So they're just going to come out like that. And you have your couple of those little, almost like a postcard look, but it's not a postcard. And this folds out. Again, just a little place for journaling, and then clip that on and it becomes a little more private. And this is a little tuck spot with some loose ephemera in there. And I have a big journal card in this pocket. And in the back, it's full of all kinds of little ephemera. We've got a little cat, some dyed paper, the library card, and another journal card. Just wrap that around a couple times. So that is the yellow one. And then the last one, which was the first one I made, is this teal colored one. So it has a crocheted cotton tie. And then I put beads on this one on the bottom from the, you'll see in there how I did that. The front has a little pocket. These are from my digital kit. And then I have a postcard, it's a faux postcard. And then this is a little journal spot. So those all just tuck in the front there. And then the back is just plain. I wanted that hobnail to show. So as we open it, here's the Tiffany card in the front there, Tiffany postcard. And then in the guest check, I have a little spot here that I just folded down and tucked in a couple of things in there. It's an envelope. And I have a little pocket here. And then with these, I just made these little bookmark areas. And you could actually take these off, maybe use them in another journal if you wanted. But they just are on a paper clip, come down, and then they have beads on the bottom. I got that idea from Natasha at Treasure Books on a video I watched. I don't think it was a recent video, but anyway, I watched it and liked the idea. This is a hand-painted piece that Dawn did. And then I have a little area here that pulls out into a journal spot, and you have a tuck spot in the pocket. So very interactive on that. A little journal spot there and there and there. More of that vintage wallpaper. One of Dawn's little bits. I guess we should call it a bigger bit, right? And then this is just a blank cardstock. We have a pocket here. And a pocket over here with a little journal card in it. These are loose ephemera pieces. Here's another one of those bookmarks. And these are just pages that I folded over and clipped on there. So not a lot going on those pages, but there will be once somebody starts writing on it. Here we have a little tuck spot. And then I took this whole thing, and that's what I put the paper clip on. So that just becomes a little closure. There's another one of those photos. And I have a tea bag here that I decorated up and put some things in. Here's another one of those from my kit. And that, again, that's just holding several pages. This has just plain paper in it, but lots of space for writing in there. And then just clip that on, and that becomes your bookmark. And then here's a little pocket. And in the back I have this, came in a kit that I got of Dawn's. So there we are with that, the last one. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making these journals. Again, they'll be available in my shop. So there we have the teal, the yellow, the green, the orange, the blue, the tipped over purple, and the pink one. So go ahead and check these journals out. I also have supplies in there. I have journals from artists all over the world. A lot going on in my shop. Stay tuned to my channel for upcoming supply videos, and I'll also have some tutorials in the works. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day.